the internet is coming in well. I can't see anything. I'm driving. But I didn't go live yesterday, and there was a good reason for me not going live yesterday. Everybody knows that I was in Tennessee. I came up even though I knew my court hearing was going to be canceled. That's why I brought my dog. But we had one of our team members already fly out and pay for and I wasn't going to leave them in Tennessee, period. You know, we don't do that to our team. So we ended up coming out and making the best of it. Met with a few content creators. We went out. I got to meet Silvers on the scene and his beautiful wife. That was really nice. Getting to see people, the real people that are fighting and trying to do everything they can to bring Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers home is just a sight for, you know, sore eyes. It was just it was a beautiful time, and seeing people come together and going out and searching for Sebastian is just, again, a beautiful thing, a humbling thing. It just shows you that there are great people in this world that do for others that can't do for themselves. But while I was there, I got a frantic call, and it was from Jennifer Santinello, and Jennifer was just having a really bad time. She was, you know, she's still searching for her daughter, and there's very limited information that I can provide, but what I can say is it sounds like they're making headway on Leela's case, which is a great thing. It sounds like she got a good team together for what she needed to do. You know, obviously, any organization that you assimilate, it has its own little hiccups and problems. And of course, this was a situation that had some hiccups and some minor issues, but it was just very upsetting for her. She's really trying to, you know, find her daughter and bring her daughter home. But what I can say is that it does sound like they are making headway. It does sound like there are people that know something. There are people that have, you know, I want to be very careful on what I say, but my point would be to anybody listening that knows something about Leela Santinello, you might want to come forward now. You know, it's always who gets there first, right? Who gets there first? And there were deals to be had for information, but if you have any knowledge or, you know, we're around, I'd be very, very nervous. That's all I'm going to say. I'd be very, very nervous. I would be wanting to make a deal. I'm just saying. Anyways, getting back to the topic of conversation, which is Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. He's a 15-year-old autistic boy that disappeared from his home in Hendersonville, Tennessee, and has not been seen or heard from since. There's been a lot of information that has been had by the mom and the stepfather, and they are inconsistent at best. There are a lot of lies that were found out. There's a lot of covering up that they're trying to do by manipulating law enforcement into thinking that they're being stalked and harassed when they're the ones stalking and harassing people. It seems like no matter who is brought in to actually help find Sebastian, they are intimidated and ran off by people affiliated and associated with the mom and the stepfather and their side of the family. This has been proven over and over and over again. So I'm not going to sit here and rehash that, because at the end of the day, it's not bringing Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers home any sooner. What I can say is that people need to have thicker skin and a backbone, because if you put your foot down and put the line in the sand and say, no, I'm going to continue to look for this boy whether or not you try to deter me, that's what we need. And I was sitting around a table full of people that have their line drawn in the sand and say that they will not be intimidated by this family, and they are going to help find this young man. And that's what we need. We need strong people out there helping look for people. The people that don't want to be in the spotlight, there's so much you guys can do behind the scenes, from researching, mapping, ideas. You know, where could this person be? Research into the people that were associated and around this child at the time of his disappearance. Good, legitimate investigative work on trying to locate this young man. We know that there is something going on in that county. We can feel it. We've watched it. I've done this all over the country. I've never dealt with the problems I've had to deal with there. But they have a culture issue, and they think that they can accept federal funds, but they only have to pander to their voter base and their personal county taxpayers. Well, we got laws against that. This boy needs to be found, and it sounds like law enforcement is focused on, their priorities are not proper. They need to refocus their attention back to Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers and not social media. We're going to be here for a long time. You can just keep stepping on toes and pissing all over the work that we do. But at the end of the day, we are protected by the Constitution. And that's something they're going to have to just deal with. They're just going to have to deal with it. And they're going to have to learn to work in an environment where we exist. And they're not going to keep being able to throw people in jail under lousy reasons to prevent them from finding Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. Sebastian is a boy that loved life. You know, he was already disadvantaged coming into this world. He was, he had a lot against him, and he still was able to thrive. The first part of his life, he thrived mostly because his father took care of him while his mother ran off to the Navy and wasn't home as much. That is, you know, that is what people don't understand, is why is Seth fighting so hard? Because that's his boy. That's his son. He gave that boy his name, Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. That's Seth's name for his son. That's the name that Seth wanted for his son. He took care of his son. He watched his son take his first steps, changed his diaper, stayed up with him for 16 to 18 hours every day because his son couldn't sleep because his son had these issues. His son needed a lot of delicate care, and his father gave him that in the absence of his mother. And when their relationship expired, in my opinion, she did not want Seth to have her son. But yet she never really took care of him like Seth took care of him. And that is relevant, and it is obvious that every single bad thing that has happened to that child has happened to that child under his mother's care. There's no dispute about that. None. People may try to use misinformation and disinformation, but at the end of the day, everything horrible that happened to that child under his mother's watch, including his disappearance, including things that should not happen to a young boy. She was okay with him being belted at 15 years old. She was okay with trying to discipline him out of his autism. She was okay with all of that, because that is what it is. Because when you look at the grand scheme of things, this child did absolutely nothing, and I mean nothing, to always be in trouble as much as he was in trouble. He's out there somewhere, and we need to find him. And I need people to look in their brains, look in their hearts, and look in their souls, and step up to the plate and start telling information. Because let's face it, law enforcement has had this case. They've done everything but do right by this boy. They have allowed, let's rephrase that. They have allowed two people that have done terrible things to this child, and we know that because there are CPS reports. Whether we know whether it's in those CPS reports or not, we know CPS, there was something going on. Apple, do something better with your phones. Maybe not make them heat up so much. Figure out a freaking different mechanism for cooling. But they have allowed them to use the law enforcement to do their heavy lifting. Law enforcement. That is ridiculous. That is ridiculous. That is corrupt as shit. So we need to find Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. I got great news for each and every one of you guys. Hey guys, don't forget to hit the like button on the way in. The great news is that Seth, tonight at 8 p.m., I'm traveling home. I'll be pulling into the drive just in enough time to pull everything out of the car and get on the live. But it's going to be at 8 o'clock tonight. So be there or be square. Go over to Seth Rogers' channel. Go ahead and if it's already set up, hit the notification button to notify you. And if you haven't subbed up to his channel, please consider subbing up to his channel. But I expect tonight to be a full house as always, and we definitely want that. And I'm sorry for the phone going down. How long did it take? Jeez, I've only been on here 11 minutes and it's already overheating. That's just bullshit. You know what? So that's kind of it. I'll come back live as I get further in. I'm in South Carolina right now. I'm making my way back. I just want to tell everybody to say a prayer for Jen Santinello. She's been, going through quite the emotional roller coaster over the last few days. And, I hate seeing her like that, but I'm glad that there's a bunch of people pulling together to help her find her daughter.